tonight for the class of 2020. Next year at this time, your son or daughter will be in high school. So it's a pretty quick process, and we're here tonight to kind of explain the process for you. My name is, obviously, you guys know me, I'm Matt Benson. I'm the principal here at Colley Middle School. I'd like to introduce Mr. William Weird. He's the new superintendent of SAU 15. He's here tonight. So if some of you haven't met him or seen him yet. So it's been a seamless transition. It's great to have him on board. So, class of 2020, I'm going to take you through the PowerPoint. If you have any questions, just let me know. This PowerPoint and presentation will also be on the high school page of the Colley Middle School website. So if you missed something or you need clarification, it will be there too. So, the Hooksett School District works with 6 districts. Pinkerton and the Manchester School District are our enrollment agreements. Okay, we work with them. And then we have Memorandum of Understandings with Bow High School, Goffstown High School, Londonderry High School, and Pembroke High School. But it all centers around Pinkerton Academy in Manchester, and you're going to see that as we go through the agreements. We have enrollment agreements with Pinkerton Academy in Manchester. And what I mean by enrollment agreements, they're long-term agreements. Pinkerton Academy, the Hooksett School Board has set as the default assignment. Okay? Get into that a little bit later. We have no limit to the amount of students that we can send to Pinkerton. We can send as many students as we'd like. Transportation is provided through neighborhood stops to Pinkerton Academy. And obviously the enrollment. Manchester High Schools. That's Memorial, Central, and West. We also have an enrollment agreement with them. Transportation is provided. Historically, east of the river has gone to Central High School. West of the river has gone to West High School. Historically, if you live on the west side of the river and you want to go to Central, you would call me, I would reach out to the principal of that school, and they've always said yes. If you wanted to go to Memorial High School, again, you could go to Memorial High School. Okay? So again, there are no limits as far as the amount of students that we can send, the Hooksett School District can send to Manchester and Pinkerton. Transportation is provided through neighborhood bus stops, just like you have now. Students come and go. We have Memorandum of Understandings with the following schools: Bow High School, Goffstown, Londonderry, and Pembroke Academy. There are limits on the amount of students in the agreements that we can send to each school. Bow High School in 2018-19, we were allotted 4 spots. 2019-20, 4 spots. And this year we will receive an official notification by October 1st on how many students Bow High School will take from the Colley class of 2020. Once I receive that information, I'll send an email out to Bright Arrow letting you know how many students Bow will take. If you notice, the tuition rates increase each year for those schools. And I want you to remember the number 12,000 for next year. Because next year, the 2020-2021 school year, the Hooksett School District has determined, the Hooksett School Board has determined they will pay $12,000 for any student going to an MOU school. The parent is responsible for any additional cost. As you can see, Goffstown High School, they'll let us know by October 1st on how many students they can take. We did send 1 student there in 2018-19, and then he moved to Goffstown, so we haven't sent any students there. He was actually a Goffstown resident. Londonderry High School, the max is at 40. That's what the agreement is. Traditionally, and once again, whatever the Hooksett School Board agrees or sets as a rate this year, current school year, $11,750, and Londonderry School District said yes, $11,750 is the tuition rate. For next year, for this class, Colley class of 2020, we've agreed that we only will send 40 students. We're not going to send any more than 40 students, okay? And we're going to honor what's in the contract. We have we've determined that both high schools, and we have requirements of sending a certain amount of students to Pinkerton Academy. Pembroke Academy, typically it's 20 students, and again, the tuition is, they give us the tuition each year. It was up a little bit in 2018-19, and now it went down a little bit this year. So, as I've already mentioned, the Hooksett School District, the Hooksett School Board has set a rate of $12,000 for the tuition of any MOU school. Any differential will be assumed by the parent. So again, we'll pay $12,000. If Bow, Pembroke, or any of the other MOU schools or Goffstown's tuition rate is higher, you'll be billed by that school district. Yep.
So let's assume like 10 people must go to Bow High School and the limit is only 4. What is the criteria? How you?
I've got a slide for that. I'll explain for you in a couple minutes. Okay? Transportation, again, is provided to Pinkerton Academy, and is provided to the Manchester High Schools. This transportation is provided by the Hooksett School District with neighborhood stops. Transportation is not provided to the MOU schools. Unless someone's going to raise their hands, I'll answer the question. Okay? What about Londonderry? Londonderry pays for a bus that has 2 stops. Parents are responsible for getting, if you select some Londonderry, they're responsible for getting their child to either the Colleyback parking lot or the Tri-Town Arena. Londonderry will do a pickup time and a drop-off time. There's 3 now?
Yeah, it stops at the town hall.
And stops at the town hall. So essentially, and I didn't know the third one, essentially Londonderry coordinates that busing by themselves. Okay, but the parent is responsible for getting their child to those bus stops. There's no cost to the Pinkerton or Manchester School District buses, other than currently what we have in place is the bus passes, which is $55, I believe, round trip for both schools. So all high school students who go to Manchester and Pinkerton, they pay for a bus pass by semester.
It's 55%.
Yeah. So again, to review, Manchester and Pinkerton School, Pinkerton Academy, the Manchester School District, the Hooksett School District pays for full tuition. Transportation is provided by the Hooksett School District through neighborhood stops. For the MOU schools, Bow, Goffstown, Londonderry, and Pembroke, the Hooksett School District contributes $12,000, and the parent is responsible for any additional cost. Transportation is not provided by the Hooksett School District. What will the process be if the number of students interested in an MOU school exceeds the number the high school can accommodate? So first, the criteria for placement is that the superintendent will first consider only those requests submitted by the October 11th deadline. So if the deadline is missed and we exceed that number, your son or daughter would not be included in the next process, the next step of the process. The next step of the process is a lottery. So unfortunately, we've had a lottery, I think 3 times with Bow. And we have a lottery where we have the parents come in, and essentially I don't want to say we pick out a hat, but we do have a process for how we run the lottery. So as you received, and I believe the August 23rd mailing, the high school transition timeline. This timeline is also on our high school page. September 23rd is the high school fair. That night, all of the high schools will be here to present. There'll be 2 presentations. Some high schools do it a little bit differently. High school selection forms will be passed out that night. If your son or daughter, you're unable to make that presentation that night, I personally walk around and I'll pass those forms out the following day, September 24th. Every day until October 11th, I will walk around in homerooms to start the day. I'll be asking for those high school selection forms, and I'll be collecting them. I collect them myself. It's not a first-come, first-served basis. Everyone's forms, you can get them in by October 11th. So if you get your form in first, it doesn't mean you get your request or your selection first. We do initial tally on the 14th. Confirmation letter is hopefully sent home to the parents on the 16th. A final tally is completed October 25th. And I'm required, the superintendent's required to inform the high schools and the receiving schools, receiving districts by October 31st of the students, the number of students, and who those students are that will be attending. Why so early? Okay, why are we making this decision right now? We're making this decision right now because I'm sure some of you know, maybe some of you don't know. School districts are creating budgets for the 2020-2021 school year. School districts are beginning to make budgets and obviously plan for courses and budget if they need additional teachers or if they need additional resources. So we have to let them know because by December 1st, a lot of these districts are preparing their budgets and they need those numbers of who's coming in for high school for the 2020-2021 year. Okay, I mean this because I've done this now many years. All right, and it's tough. I'm not in this situation. Whose selection is it? Okay, it's the parents' selection. Okay, it's the parents' selection. I've always said, many of you have heard me say this, nobody knows their child better than you as the parent. Things you need to consider. Affordability. Will you be able to afford the additional cost? Transportation. Will you be able to, if you select an MOU school, will you be able to get your child to go to Pembroke? And I'm going to say this because we always have a couple that come back. Will you be able to get your son or daughter to the bus stops if you select Londonderry or request Londonderry? And will you be able to pick them up at the bus stop in the afternoon? The Hooksett School District does not provide transportation for those MOU schools. When the students get off the bus here in Colley, they do not get on the Colley buses, the Londonderry kids, okay? They do not get on the Colley buses. So again, this is something I want to reiterate, that for Londonderry, once again, the Hooksett School District is not responsible for transportation. French change, okay? And again, I know we're a year away. Just came off the summer, like I try to tell the kids, you come off the summer, you've been hanging out with a lot of your summer buddies, you may start a new performing group, a new club, athletic team, and you pick roommates for DC. Then you go into your winter season. You go into your 8th grade musical. And then the season changes to the spring, and now you're involved with your spring athletics, your spring clubs, your spring performing groups. And then you go to Camp Martina, where your roommates could be different too. So I've seen this, and I'm sure many of you are aware of it. It's a tough choice. It's a tough thing for a family to go through, to pick a high school when you're in 8th grade. I think that's why you do it in college when you're a senior. But that's why it's a strong belief, and my strongest recommendation is that nobody knows their child better than you, and it is a parent's choice. Because if you're in a situation where they're saying, I want to go with my 3 or 4 friends, this or that, but you know deep down in your heart that that school is not the right choice for your son or daughter, then there could be an issue down the road. Well, what happens if I change my mind? Final tallies will be completed October 25th. So as you saw, there's an initial tally, and I've had over the years a couple people call me up on October 24th. Can we change your mind? Yes. Because again, I have until October 31st. By October 25th, I need to know, okay? And the forms are due on that date, October 11th, okay? But if you change your mind after that, we submit those requests to the high schools by October 31st. Once my student is attending a high school, is it possible for him or her to change the high schools? So they're a sophomore, they're a junior. High school reassignment will be considered consistent with applicable statutes and policies adopted to implement those statutes. Okay? So there is a process that you would have to go through. Okay? I'm out of the equation in that. I may get a call from someone, but those are things that you have to check with the receiving town and our superintendent. So there's the high school selection form that your son or daughter will be receiving on the 23rd. If a student does not turn the form in at all, they're assigned to Pinkerton Academy. Please turn in the form. There's one choice, or one selection, one request. Okay, there's one request. We're not sitting here and doing first request, second request, third request. You just put one request down. If it's another public high school, you would have to file that request with the superintendent. If your son or daughter is going to private school, okay, just write the private school on it. All right? And those are returned to guidance by October 11th, 2019. So, there's a couple things I'll offer up to you. I am more than willing to sit down with you, okay, as a family. I've done this year after year, and I'll help you come to, I won't tell you what to do, but I'll say, let's make a pros and cons list. I'll work through this with you and your son or daughter, okay? Because could be a bit of a tug of war. Again, I'm more than willing to do that. I do know the schools well. I have no investment on where our students go. Okay, I know some of you in here know I went to Manchester Central. Okay, I have friends at Londonderry. I have friends at Pinkerton. I coach baseball at Goffstown. Okay, I don't know too many people who go. And the principal I like, he's a good guy at Pembroke. So I have no investment in this. I want what's best for your children, and I'm willing to sit down, okay, and talk through options, talk about each different high school, what I know. Okay? I would also recommend, if you haven't already, setting up tours at these schools. You have to reach out to those schools to set up tours. September 27th is a good day for those schools. So they know that. So they're expecting those calls for September 27th. It's a perfect day. And you can certainly do that. I get a little nervous around October 10th, around October 9th and 8th, when I'm walking through the homerooms and I'm getting the blank books. I need your high school form, I need your high school form. Does your parent have it? Yeah, I think so. All right, so this was passed out the 23rd. Yeah, I think my mom or dad have, they've seen it. Where is it? I don't know. Can you check your bag? Oh, it's still in my bag. So we'll be making calls, all right? We'll follow up with calls. We've gone to people's, where they work. We'll come out there to where you work. We'll come and get the form signed for you. We're willing to work with you. But just please be aware that that form is going out September 23rd, September 24th, and be asking. And it's fine for you to say, because I am a bit of a nag with this, because I want everyone to get their forms in. It is fine for you to say, Mr. Benson, we're still struggling with the decision. Matt, we're still struggling with the decision. However, we'll have the form in by October 10th or 11th. Okay? So just please be aware of that. You know, but reach out, school counselors. Yep.
So, say you want to go to both, and there's a lot of them. So do you check off both and then check off the second one, saying if I don't get selected at both, this is my school?
No, select one choice. Okay, good. And if there's a lottery, we'll have that conversation with parents at the lottery on what to do. I'll know if we're going to have a lottery pretty quickly. Okay, once we've exceeded the number, I'll be sending out information to you letting you know. We've exceeded the number at Londonderry, Pembroke, or Goffstown, therefore we need to have a lottery. Okay? So obviously there's the information for each of the high schools. If you go onto our high school website page, you have this information, links to all the high schools. You also will have the updated correspondence that we have. And again, please feel free to call me if you have any questions. Are there any questions? So there is a certain percentage that have to go to Pinkerton, and that's 62%, 62.3 or 63.2. I had it. So we are required to meet that enrollment agreement. It's an average of 3 years, and that's what the average is turned into, the 62.3. And therefore, that's why with these, basically with the numbers that the MOUs have set, that's why we're sticking to those numbers.
Does Hooksett District pay for part of the tuition of other private schools other than Pinkerton?
No, the Hooksett School District does not pay for tuition to any private schools. Yep, if you'd like to set up the tours, just call over to the main office at each of the high schools. Some high schools say yes, I'm pretty sure all of them do, and you can set up a tour with them, and they'll coordinate that with you. Some students here shadow other students. So again, I'll put a plug in for September 27th. So,
And then, does my school bus get transferred to what other school they do?
my school bucks, I'm not sure that they do. I think those my school bucks is just set up here with the Hooksett School District.
For any of the MOUs that are in excess of the 12,000 allotment, how is that billed out back to the parents?
Those school districts will bill the parent. So if Bow School District is where you go, you'll get a bill from the Bow School District. I do not know. There is no cost. But that's a great question that you could ask on high school presentation night, on the high school fair. That Lenny Della would be able to give you that information. Any other questions? Well, thank you. Please keep me posted. Email me if you need anything. And again, this year's high school fair, there'll be 2 presentation sessions. We're finding that people aren't going to 5 or 6. So there'll be 2 presentations, I believe 45 minutes. I'll be sending you an email home on Wednesday about this. And then the last 25 minutes of the night will be a question and answer session. So if you wanted to stop in and see one of the other high schools, you can certainly do that too. Yes?
If you have an older sibling that already goes to one of the MOUs, that your younger sibling didn't go to that MOU?
No, there's no, siblings don't get a preference for that.
Is there any discussion at the board level for that, if there is a lottery, that sibling could be given preferential?
There has been discussion in the past about that, and the board has decided that siblings do, that's not my decision, that's a Hooksett School Board decision that siblings do not get preference in any lottery selections. If we jump in. Yes?
You mentioned that Bow has gone to lottery before. Have any of the other MOUs been lottery situations?
No. So I believe, like I said, 3, I'm pretty confident we've had 3 lotteries with Bow, maybe 4, but I think it's definitely 3.
Do you have numbers of what last year's choices were? How many went to different schools?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Do you anticipate, because the grapevine piece for last year's class was Londonderry was over
Mhm.
40, and this year now with the Pinkerton thing, where our group is being capped to 40. Do you anticipate that potentially becoming a lottery?
Do I anticipate it?
Or are you hoping it's not?
I'm hoping nobody has to go through a lottery.
Yeah.
Okay, but am I anticipating? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like to go around and ask, unless I know, I don't poll the students myself, because I don't want to put the pressure on them or feel like they're being forced. I hear things, I live in the community here and there, but I haven't heard anything particular with this class that, there's 25 kids that want to go to Goffstown High School. So, yes. We'll have that discussion on the day of the lottery. All right? No, you wouldn't lose a chance. Yep. So yes, if you're right, you're correct. You wouldn't lose the opportunity to go to Manchester or Pinkerton because we have no cap for those numbers. So if a student wasn't selected for the lottery, certainly have those.
How large is the grade class?
171. 171. Might be 172. Okay. Really put me on the spot. Teacher.
Are there any the sibling with the twins?
No.
One of them went for lottery, comes back on that.
So that's a great question. So in the past that we've done the lottery with Bo, all right, when we do the Bo lottery, we'll say this person got number 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's say Bo is only taking 4 students. Then we go all the way through, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if the 4th person says no, the 5th person gets that spot. If the 5th person says no, the 6th person gets that spot. So you can decline, if you want to decline, I guess you'll win. Well, thank you very much and have a good evening. Great